It's hard to believe that this market's actually up this year, considering all the bad news that's in the market, but that's how it works. But we are approaching a big test, so we got to pull out our books and start studying. At the end of this, episode, I also want to share with you some updates on what we're doing from an AI perspective. So stick with me. My name is Brian Cannon, and welcome to Markets in 5. So I took a week off from doing Markets in 5 over Easter. I hope everybody had a blessed Easter. And kudos to Skip for calling me out. Really appreciate that. Anyway, I'm back. So the S&P over the last year, of course, had that downtrend. Broke through it, came down, tested it, false breakdown, and then took off. So, it's actually looking constructive. All right, so by drilling down into this chart, I wanted to kind of point out some interesting things. The MACD has not crossed over to the downside yet, although it is elevated. And RSI has not rolled over yet, and certainly hasn't gotten to an overbought situation, but it is elevated. So, it wouldn't surprise me if we rolled over here a little bit. But what's really good to kind of see in this chart is we are now starting to experience higher highs and higher lows. So as you can kind of see this market starting to climb, it's really it's acting constructive, which is good. And I know it's hard to kind of turn on the news and watch anything and get a sense as to why this market is doing anything. But essentially, it is. And so it's kind of very sneakily, if you will, very, very quietly, just kind of starting to climb this ladder. So again, we've got this area of resistance, or this next area of test that we're watching very closely, that's provided some resistance in the past. And we're right up on it. So again, this would be a very, very close to now would be a natural spot for the market to begin to roll over a little bit. Now we've got all these moving averages. So again, the 20-day moving average is heading up, but we'll have some support there. The 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day moving average are all closely below. So those would be nice areas of support that would enable this market to continue a pattern of higher highs and higher lows. All right, before I go into the update on our strategy, I wanted to kind of give you a little backdrop, or as an introduction prior to kind of just jumping in. So as you've all probably are aware by now with ChatGPT and the launch of AI, it's kind of opened a lot of doors. I mean, obviously there's a lot of scariness associated with that in the future, but at the same time, there's also a lot of good with it. So if you take it as an opportunity to partner with it, but not let it control, then I think there's a real opportunity there. So we've essentially got an algorithm that does have a machine learning characteristic to it that essentially begins to understand and look at the nearest neighbor approach, and really looking at the volatility of the market in the more recent time, and overweighting that type of environment as opposed to data points much earlier. So with that, we've got a very intelligent system that essentially, again, I want to be very clear, it does not buy and sell. This is not a robo trading system. Essentially, it does the work that I would do and spend all day thumbing through 300 to 500 charts a day. Essentially, it does it all the time. So it doesn't take smoke breaks. It doesn't take time off or weekends. It's just working the whole time. So it kicks off leads throughout the day that says, buy this or sell this. And so the way it works, here's an example of Apple. So up here, it's going to mention the win rate and the win-loss ratio, which is important to kind of monitor over time. But essentially, the goal is any stock or any investment that trends, we want to, use our signals and be in. And when after that trend's over and it kicks off a sell signal, we want to be out. Now we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Again, we're using this to enhance what we're currently already doing. And so, we'll still look at, is the MACD crossing over? Is RSI overbought? And is it poised to roll over? And what is the rate of change doing? So we look at ADX, we look at CCI, we look at all of our indicators to kind of use that. But essentially, this does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, and just, begins to kind of kick off some buy and sell opportunities throughout the day. So, here's an example of a stock that kicked off a buy yesterday. And so I get a little alert and it says, hey, check this out. And so I'll spend some time going through it and saying, hey, I like that. Look, there's a crossover there on the MACD. We've got RSI that's popped up over 50, is running positive. Rate of change is good. This stock looks good. And the win rate's good. The win-loss ratio is good. But essentially, we want to use this system to kind of help keep us out of trouble on the downside and help get us into being on the right side of the ledger on the upside. So that's the big the news. But essentially, that's what we are using as a basis for helping me essentially and our team, do the heavy lifting. So the machine will do the heavy lifting, but again, it will not trade these stocks on your behalf. There's no situation where it's going to go rogue on you, or it's going to subject you to a flash crash or anything like that. So but if you have any questions, give me a shout, and I'll be happy to run through the details with you in person. So I think this year is going to ultimately be very volatile, up and down, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to jump in and opportunities to jump out and protect. And so our goal in implementing the smart, intelligent portfolios and using some machine learning algorithms is not to, again, take control, but rather to help us to really remove the emotional bias and really make sure that we're maximizing the risk-adjusted returns on everybody's portfolio. So if you have any questions, by all means, give me a shout, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Markets in 5.